Every day for 30 days, I'm giving you immigration tips if you're trying to get from America to Norway. I'm an American in Norway. I immigrated here 2 years ago from America while living paycheck to paycheck. I did it without a ton of savings and after studying the Norwegian language and culture for 25 years. So here are my tips for you. Day 4. Norway has a super flat social structure, and that might sound good, but it's probably going to throw you off a bit as an American. I get it. So many of you are asking about pragmatic tips, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there Monday, okay, tomorrow, because that's for business. That's for the work week, right? We'll get down to business. But first, I think we need to ask the right questions. That's why we've been spending these days saying, is it even a good place for you? Will you be happy there? So here's the thing. We as Americans are all about status. We are arguably one of the most status-driven societies in the world, in ways you probably don't even realize. Even if you think of yourself like I did as like not materialistic, not obsessed with like how people see me, you still are trained from a young age to think like that. And Norway couldn't be more opposite. Now things are changing. It is becoming more and more capitalistic, late stage capitalism. But in general, people in America, when I would say I was a professor, people would be impressed or they would almost be like offended because I thought I was better than them. So they were still buying into this status. Here in Norway, people don't give what I do that I was a professor. And it's jarring because I was trained to sort of have this pause after I mentioned I was a professor, sort of see if it had sort of offended people or made them think I was arrogant at the worst. But nobody cares here. They literally don't care. It's like talking about the weather, if that. A tow truck driver is treated the same. A construction worker is treated the same as a professor. Now, I know we don't like treat people differently in America, right? We're not just mean to somebody because they work in construction, but we do think of them a little bit differently, and that is just not true here. Part of it is that I think, at least until recently, you could live a great life as a carpenter or a tow truck driver. So you had the same lifestyle as everybody else, the same size of home, the same level of car, unless you were excessively wealthy. Most people lived a really similar life. They have a word for this in Norwegian culture. It's called janteloven. I'll put that on the screen. Janteloven was invented as sort of a parody. It was sort of meant to make fun of Norwegian society. And for better or worse, what it means is that they want everyone to be equal. Some people would say that you're almost punished for standing out, that means you think you're trying to be better than everybody, and they don't like it. So this means obvious things, right? Like you don't drive a flashy car. That's considered really rude here and not impressive. But this is going to affect us as Americans in many small ways, okay? So many people have been in the comments of my other videos saying like, oh, this sounds perfect for me. I'm an introvert. I would love it. And that's great. Obviously, Norway does work for some people. That's not to say nobody will like it. But I and the other immigrants in the chat are here to say that you're probably still idealizing a bit of this like rustic, rural, Amish lifestyle and not thinking about the fact that in a dark, long winter, you could still feel really isolated and homesick. Janteloven is similar. Yes, it sounds really great. Oh, a flat social structure. I completely agree. Humans were not meant to live in the intense competitive environment we have in America. But like anything, it's a detox. And a detox comes with withdrawal. Your nervous system has been primed to like make a good first impression. This is a good example. Maybe it seems great to you that people don't want flashy houses and cars. But when people are kind of annoyed if you're smarter than them, if you're really talented at something. Many people would say that you're supposed to hide that or you could be ostracized. I haven't personally really experienced it, but it is a part of the culture that, whereas in America, we're supposed to show exactly who we are in an elevator pitch right away. In Norway, that sort of first impression, showy, like here's who I am as a person, that tap dance is seen as bragging and centering yourself. And like, I don't care how woke of an American you think you are. I consider myself super woke. We are trained from a really young age, like say hello to them, be polite. Like the first impression matters so much as we are taught to tap dance and show who we are and make ourselves seem special to others from a very young age. And Norwegians are taught the total opposite. And it can result in a lot of uncomfortable social interactions And it can make people feel like they're supposed to hide. They're not supposed to take up space. Many Norwegians have begun speaking out against janteloven, but it is still sort of the predominant culture here. And I think it's another thing that might sound really, really nice, and it is. It is. I think it's better for us. But you are not used to it, no matter how used to it you think you are, no matter how much you think you desire it. It is going to be odd to you that you're not supposed to sort of show off what's great about you. Norwegians just care about you for you, and they think it's rude if you're trying to show off. To that extent, I kind of said this out of order. People do not talk about what their jobs are here. I mean, you can ask people, it does come up, but people work so that they can live a life. They don't live to work. So when I first came home after a year being here, I was shocked because all I used to talk about in America was my job. I was a workaholic. So when I came back home, people would ask what I was working on. And for the first time ever, I didn't want to talk about that. I just wanted to live, talk about life and feelings and thoughts. So that kind of goes with it. Like, your job is not a status symbol. It's like a random piece of trivia about you that people don't really care about. And that itself can feel like an adjustment. Because in America, we've worked so hard over so many years to have this job that says this thing about us. But the job is not attached to identity and status here. So it's little things like that that will feel odd, even though the flat social structure sounds really nice.